Take two. This is coming back at you from Dallas, Texas. And if you haven't watched our previous video yet about our taxi adventures, you should check it out.
Right here.
On YouTube. And we just wanted to give a quick review of today's events after the taxi ride. Being
uphill.
Yes, everything else pertaining to the conference and the sessions and what we learned. Just some highlights, nothing big, but we like to process what we've heard today, and this is a good way to do it. So we thought you might also be interested in it. So we attended 2 breakout sessions today. Joe, you want to talk about those a little bit?
Well, the breakout sessions, the first one was entitled Visual Worshiper.
Visual Worshiper.
Visual Worshiper. And you can, it was led by 3 guys who started production and, I think they called it a worship design team or something like that. But you can check them out at visualworshiper.com. I got a blog over there and everything. They were pretty cool. They talked a lot about lighting and projection and stuff. And one thing that I hadn't learned much about up to this point was environmental projection, which basically is using projectors and video clips or pictures on walls or screens or anything, but it's projection besides words on a screen. Other things that their goal was to make the whole environment, instead of just the 1 or 2 screens in the front, central and focused.
Yeah, so the basic idea of environmental projection is, like Joe said, to use more than just the main projectors that you would normally see in a church or a youth room or whatever. Usually see at least 1 or 2 projectors that are used for lyrics for songs, for worship, for singing songs. So the idea behind this is to have multiple projectors besides the lyric projectors shining on, like Joe said, walls or anything pretty much. Basically just to give the whole room a tie-in kind of environment. So if you have a clouds background on the songs, then you can show a huge video clip of clouds on the wall. And this is what they call environmental projection. And it looks really cool if you do it right.
Yeah, they used it tonight during the keynote. During the music before the keynote.
Yeah. So it looks like a good idea. It's basically just to, I thought it was interesting because they brought up a lot of times what this does is it brings your attention off of what's happening on stage and obviously it enhances your worship experience, and so obviously you don't want all the attention on your worship team on the stage, because you're trying to direct them towards God and worshiping God through song, which I thought was interesting because it does a good job of taking people's attention off of the stage and just helping them to focus more on the words that they're singing. And they put a lot of focus on tying in the video backgrounds that you use with the songs that you're singing.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of coordination between the worship leader and the media director to make sure that that happens.
You're conveying the same message.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool, like, being at a media conference, I kind of expected them to be, always about it looking good and being, real flashy and getting attention and stuff. And it was cool. They spent a good probably 10 or 15 minutes of the 50-minute session talking about what they called visual silence. And they said, they kind of went into that by saying you should ask yourself the question of why are we doing blank? And then they said that will lead to answer the question of how should we do blank? And then if you answer those two questions, you might come up with should we even be doing blank to begin with? So I thought that was cool. And they talked about the story of Matt Redman and how he wrote The Heart of Worship. And if you don't know that, you can look it up. But basically, just to say that media within a worship service is just as, important and just as important that you focus on the worship, not just making it look good, just as important as the music or anything else. It's all part of the experience.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I think, they also brought up that if you're doing this, if you're doing media and videos in order to entertain, a younger crowd, in order to draw in a younger crowd, through entertainment, then, you're not going to accomplish your goal because, they're going to be entertained for a week or two, but then, if that's your goal, then they're just going to get bored with it.
And you're going to have to come up with new stuff every week.
Right. So, your goal shouldn't be to entertain people. It should just be to... I liked what they talked a lot about. Everything that you do should, in some way, lead someone or point someone to God. So I thought that was, that's really, I think that's crucial to remember while you're doing anything that has to do with media or even music and videos. It should all help someone and point them to God in some way. It shouldn't. I think one of the biggest things I took away from today is that whatever we do, it needs to have a purpose. We shouldn't just do something just for the sake of doing it. We shouldn't.
They talked about even video backgrounds to your lyrics. Don't just throw a video up there because it looks good. If you don't have a purpose for that video background, going along with your worship set, you might as well just use a black screen and white words. Yeah. Or for that matter, not even use words at all.
Right.
Because it all should have, you shouldn't do anything without a purpose behind it.
Yeah. They told a good story about a guy, a visual, visual director at a camp who was supposed to have stuff prepared for, all of this, for the songs and everything. He didn't have it all prepared in time, and instead of just throwing a background up there real quick, he said, I'm not just going to throw something up there without having a purpose behind it. So he just put white words on a black background, and it looked fine, and it led people to God in the worship. So, is there a 10-minute limit on this?
Yeah, I think so.
We've already been talking for 9 minutes and 30 seconds, so we got to wrap this up real quick so we can upload it to YouTube. But we will be coming at you with a lot more updates from the Echo Church Media Conference. And
peace.
Love you guys. Bye.